was goody? We got the legend, Knicks Community, also known as Adidan Donahoe. We got him on, yeah, and we got and he's a legend, He's coming.
As are you, my friend.
Yep, and he was on here. You were on the round table with me, Nicholas, Eddie, Italio, all of them, and yeah, let's get into it. How you feel about the Knicks win last night? That was an amazing win.
Yeah, I feel great. Emmanuel quickly, I mean, played incredible when he came onto the court last night. And I think that's just what
True.
Knicks basketball needs to be. I think that Emmanuel quickly showed what the future of this team needs to be, and that's just really utilizing this young core and just kind of dishing passes, finding the open man, getting easy buckets. He had alley oops to guys like Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, Obi Toppin, and yeah, I think that's just what Knicks basketball needs to be. I think it was a great win. I was not expecting it to happen at all because we were down by
Yeah. And
20.
then Blade was
Oh, spinning in the paint as always.
yeah, we
Um,
call him Blade.
oh, same
I
here.
have different names for him. I have Julius the Spin Randall.
Hmm.
With some people, I have Blade. I have we can make all sorts of nicknames, but I ain't gotta do that because the New York Knicks won, and I was really impressed by how Knox played. I've been really critical of Knox. If you've and lots of fans don't like his effort in that, but he showed out last night. I'll give him credit. Kevin Knox showed out last night. Mitchell Robinson showed out. DSJ, after all the things he's been through in the last year, he showed out. OB, quickly,
RJ.
Frank, RJ, they all showed out. All the young guys, and that's what we
Yeah,
need to see.
exactly. I totally agree.
Besides Miles Powell,
We
who I
need to
really want to
utilize him.
see.
I said this last night. I was on the State of the Knicks podcast right after the game, and
Yeah.
I was just saying, in the beginning of that game, I don't understand why we didn't utilize Miles Powell. I mean, at one point we were 3 from 13 from three, and
Powell's a knockdown
Powell averaged 21 points in Seton Hall, and I just don't understand why we're not utilizing him and Ignis more. And I think
Yeah.
those two guys are who we need to really bring into the game plan, I think.
Same with Obi and that, but Tibbs, Obi and quickly, but Tibbs utilized Obi and quickly great last night.
Yeah.
Obi reminds me of a young Amari Stoudemire of what we've seen so far.
Hmm.
He hasn't had any like crazy highlight total games yet, but all I see is great flashes, and he definitely has lots of potential. He had a great game last night. Detroit on Sunday wasn't that good, but I think that was just because he didn't get the minutes. And Friday night he played amazing. What the Knicks need to do is I think they need to trade Randall and they need to build through Obi and RJ.
Hmm.
Those are the core guys. And then I think Quickly is definitely a great guy that I really want him when he that was like a guy I said um I want him in the second round. Quickly I think Quickly is a great player and definitely is a stud. Yeah.
Definitely. My only, I guess, negative, I guess, that I had from draft night was we traded Oturu away, um, which I wasn't really a fan of because I really liked him in college. He averaged 20 and 11. And Nerlens Noel, great for us at center so far, but I would have really liked to have seen what Oturu would have been if he stayed on the Knicks. But overall, I really like draft night, like you said as well.
Yeah. Well, I was definitely a fan of Noel so far. Noel has definitely played amazing.
Alec
Um,
Burks, definitely.
yeah, Alec Burks. He's at. I'm still up in the air about him, but he's played good. Noel's definitely played good, and Noel I think could be a great player. Like he fits our role and what we need. He knows he. Those are types of players you bring in for a rebuilding team, not Taj Gibson, Taj Mahal Gibson as we call him here, not Julius Randle and those types of players. You need to bring in players that have actually been on that like no have been on around rebuilding teams. OKC last season, it was sort of a rebuilding team. Definitely was. They had Shea, they had besides Chris Paul and that was a rebuilding team. And the year before that, he was 2 years before that he was in Dallas, and that was also a rebuilding team. They just got DSJ, and they were lottery bound and trying to move away from the Dirk era and that. And
Mhm.
he was in the process and that, and so I think that that's a player that can be a great player off the bench, but he knows how to handle this. Not, I think Taj Gibson wasn't the right guy for that, but Noel is.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I mean, you could argue, right? You could argue that Taj Gibson was on paper right for that role because he's been on teams like the Bulls, has playoff experience.
Cool
Um,
Tibbs boy. Yeah.
Tibbs, yeah. And he's played with the greats like Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose. But yeah, I didn't really see him as like a mentor kind of role, and I think that I think Fizdale definitely I guess like increased his roles, if that's the right word. I think that on paper, I think we were all just kind of like when the Knicks signed him, I think we were all just kind of like, oh yeah, he'll just be kind of like a bench guy, kind of like mentor to Mitch. Was he a mentor to Mitchell Robinson? Yes, because he helped him, gave him advice. I read that by Mark Berman in the Post a couple times.
Yeah.
Um,
Mark Berman is credible. Say what you
yeah,
want.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think that Taj Gibson, because like I think that Mitch should have started a little bit more last season. And I think that last night Mitch was okay.
He got
I
into
wasn't
foul
really
trouble.
I wasn't foul trouble. Yeah, that's a huge thing that he struggles with. Um, and I wasn't really expecting him to do like insanely like great because he's playing against Andre Drummond. So of course, you're gonna expect him to get out rebounded, which he was. At times he was trying to get rebounds and then he was just kind of like this because Drummond was just getting all the rebounds against him.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about that bloody nose too? Right at the end of the game, that Dean Wade flagrant foul.
Yeah,
Um,
that was wild.
that was crazy. I was saying this to my friend on the phone. I was saying that I didn't think that was on purpose at all. I think that really he was just trying to maybe size him up a little bit, try to get a kind of like a hustle play of like an N1 sort of thing. But yeah, that was crazy as well.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, Mitch got out rebounded, and the biggest problem is his foul trouble. If he ever wants
Definitely.
to get past that you know the just average center in that, he needs to get out of foul trouble, and he Mitch has everything besides a jump shot and foul trouble. If he can just fix those two things and make him at least average, uh, there you go. It's a wrap. Though
Definitely.
I think, to be honest, I don't. I'm not. I think that Mitch. I'm. I think he'll be a good player in that, but he's not gonna. He's not gonna be like the next Anthony Davis. Let's just put that out there. I think if he could be like a Tyson Chandler at most, DeAndre Jordan type.
Right. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't try to, I guess, label him as one of that like he could be like an Anthony Davis, right? Because the biggest thing that I ask players like Chris Childs, who I know you and I are both close to him, had him
Yeah,
on our shows multiple times. He's a goat, real one. And
true.
I ask him and all the players that I found on my show, I say, how did you deal with the pressure of New York, right? And I think that a lot of players on our team have struggled with pressure. We've seen Dennis Smith Jr. I was last year. I went to the We Want Frank game. I know you did as
Same.
well. I remember you told me. And I think that trying to label Mitchell Robinson, nothing against what you said at all, but I'm just saying that I think um, trying to say like next Anthony Davis, next DeAndre Jordan, something like that, when he really doesn't have that much experience starting because he's had to deal with guys like Taj Gibson and now Nerlens Noel. Um, I wouldn't want him to fall under that kind of pressure because I wouldn't want to see him struggle. Like I know many players that have played on the Knicks have struggled due to pressure. So yeah, that's kind of my take on Mitchell Robinson currently.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Mitchell Robinson, I think that the Knicks like we can't look, we gotta give him time, but if he fails like in the next like 2 seasons, I think it's a wrap. And it's starting to get to that point like at first it was like let's be patient, but mind you, these guys like were um we were supposed to be 2019 was like you felt like hey like this was a beginning of something. This was
Mhm.
like hey we're gonna be like we're gonna like build something from here, but nothing ever happened in that. And now we're hearing that while other teams like you see teams like Philly, you see teams like New Orleans, you see teams like Memphis, you see them building these amazing young cores and winning. Where and by the you see OKC even, but by the time like we're gonna start winning that, but then these players are like they ain't gonna be like we're supposed to be building, we're supposed to be winning at like you see all these other teams like this is what we expect in that. And
Yeah, I agree. I think
I'll
that
give him two more. I'll give him 1 or 2 more years. If they don't prove something, I think it. I think this you can basically say Steve Mills and Scott Perry completely failed.
hmm you could
They
argue that.
already like 90% failed on me.
I just think, I mean, definitely they did, and I think that really it was all because of the outcome of fans' expectations, right? We were all expecting Kev-
KD.
Kevin Kevin Durant, Kyrie to come 2 weekends. They were marketing it as, we have cap space for two big free agents to come to the Knicks, and then you have Stephen A. every day saying, "I've heard all of these rumors that Kevin Durant is going to the Knicks." Never happened. Kevin Durant even said it himself. He never intended on going to the Knicks.
Yeah, shout out to the
Um,
Knicks Gray again for the plug.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. Great Instagram account. And I think that, I think shifting it to a positive outlook is that last year was terrible. But this year, I think that listen, am I expecting them to go to the eighth seed? Absolutely not. I'm expecting them to be a 25-30 winning team game. Or that didn't come out right. I'm expecting them to have at least 25 to 30 wins this
Yeah, and at
season.
least
That
be
was
like
that was
maybe a 10th seed in the play-in tournament if it's
yeah,
uh like could you
definitely.
see
I just think that yeah,
that's the
I think right
playoffs.
now,
Yeah.
yeah, I think right now we're on the verge of starting something really nice. And this is only preseason. Regular season starts next week. So we can only go up from here. And I think that Thibodeau is going to lead us in the right direction.
Yeah, I think that if this team, I'm not gonna go say AFC in that, but if this team plays like they did last night, that's a 10th seed right there. That's a if they play like that or close to that every night, you're in the play-in tournament. And I always mention that, like play-in tournament. I've been mentioning that a lot, and there's a reason behind that. Is because, to be honest, that's the playoffs for me. That's the playoffs right there, for us in that. A 10th seed is like when was the last time we had like a 10th seed in that, or like 2014. When you
Yeah,
think
you're
about
talking about
2015,
you're talking about a playoff run.
no, like at least 10th, ninth seed.
Okay. Um.
2014.
Yeah, I think so.
That's 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that I know every fan hates the waiting game, right? But you got
Well,
to
we
look
all.
at teams like you were saying before, Philly, right? Took them a while to get to where they were. It didn't just happen overnight, right? And I said this on my show too. I said, listen, their whole motto is trust the process. And I know Knicks fans, they're like, oh, I want to win right now. I want a superstar. I want a
But
championship. I
hey,
want
the
a playoff.
process I think isn't working out totally. At least they're a relevant team. At least they're a relevant team. But I
Philly.
think there are team like I'd much rather have. I'm gonna go off here, but I think I'd much rather have like a team like Dallas, or a team like Boston, or even a team like maybe OKC last year than Philly or Denver or something, because a team like OKC is better, I think, than Philly, for their young core in that, or even a team like Charlotte. I'd much rather have Charlotte's young core than Philly.
I like Charlotte, but their point guard situation is a mess.
That's like the complete opposite of us.
I mean, you could argue that our point guard situation is also a little tough right now because you have
It's
Quickly,
tough
right?
in
I
that.
mean, played the two at yeah, he played the two at college Quickly, but you could see him as a point guard. Last night you could see him as definitely a point guard for the future. You have DSJ, you have Frank, you have Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers. I was saying this last night too
Alfred.
that he has a lot. He's a lot to prove, and Alfred as well. But Austin Rivers has a lot to prove and a lot to back up because we saw him on media day. Um, he was saying all the right things to make us excited, and
But
he was
didn't
saying,
Mook say that last year? Didn't Brendan Jennings say that all one year?
Yeah, yeah, no, to your
Didn't
credit, you could argue.
I'm not gonna disrespect Ennis Cantor, because Ennis Cantor was my boy, so I won't disrespect Ennis Cantor, and he actually went out there and embodied that, even though we didn't win a lot of games.
I mean,
But
you could argue that Marcus Morris with slamming the ball's head into I think Bruce Brown in preseason last year. You know what I mean?
okay, yeah, you can make an argument, but it's not like that dog. I was talking about this last time, and the '90s Knicks talk, dog mentality. Like they acting like they're DMX or something. Like, come on. I
Definitely.
think that they should uh like, if you're gonna play like if you're gonna act like the '90s Knicks, play like the '90s Knicks.
Mhm.
Don't just have that talk. Um,
Listen,
walk the
listen.
talk.
I'd love to bring back '90s Knicks. You know, I would love to see that again because I was born in 2003. I was born.
2006.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen all these videos. I'm seeing Chris Childs go one on one against Kobe. I'm seeing all these aggressive plays. I'm seeing all these fights and this hunger. And I want us to go back to there as well. But I feel like it's just going to take us a little bit more to get us there. I know I hate waiting too.
Same.
I became a Knicks fan 2012. Right before
Same.
like right during that
Mixtape.
Knicks tape era, yeah.
Mixtape.
I mean, the best, right? I mean, you got Shumpert, JR, Copeland, who's been on my show.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Copeland's amazing.
he
Copeland's
was, yeah,
amazing.
definitely,
You
definitely.
had Mello. You had
All right.
Mo- that was bad knees Amari. I
No. That was Bad Knees Kenyon Martin and Rasheed Wallace.
Okay, she was cool. Ball don't lie.
Hey,
Okay,
ball don't lie. Ball don't lie. That was I love Rasheed. That was great.
but this was old Amari, and but still, all off to Amari. I have his jersey.
Absolutely. I
I've
hope he
met
does. I
him
hope he does
one
well on the
time
Nets.
at I was, if you remember, a couple years back we had that game against the Lakers where KP went off and Cantor went off, and that was Lonzo's garden debut. LeVar was there.
I
There
think
were
Was LaMelo and LiAngelo there as well.
yeah,
I think
like
all of them brothers were there.
yeah, Stephen A. Smith was in the house. Yeah, I
Oh
met
yeah.
him. Uh, I was trying to get LeVar in that, but LeVar like blew off in that. But man, Mari, really cool dude. Definitely
Definitely.
great. But
Mhm.
sadly, his career got cut short of injuries and that. And um, also met Nate Robinson, great guy. Also,
Oh Nate. Oh Nate. He is a
have you got Nate Robinson on yet or no?
uh no, and I don't know how many appearances he's gonna make after the KO by Jake Paul. Um I mean, it was tough. It was tough to watch. I came off of Stay the Knicks podcast right before that moment where he got knocked out. I said, "Hey, if I get off this podcast and I see Nate Robinson get knocked out, I'm gonna be mad." And the exact second I get off, I scroll through Twitter. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, Nate Robinson got dropped." I'm like, "What?" And I look at the video, and Jake Paul predicted it. He said, "I'm gonna bounce this man's head like a basketball, and that's the only thing that's gonna be dribbling on the day of the fight." He goes down, back up, and down again. I was like, "What? Oh my God,
That's wild. Yeah,
dude, it was
Jake Paul.
crazy."
Jake Paul. I've heard. I'm not gonna. This is a totally different topic in that, but I don't like Jake Paul in that. So I really want Nate Robinson win.
Totally.
Even though I love Nate, it made it even more that I want him.
And that he was wearing the Knicks colors too.
Oh yeah, the Knicks colors, sneakers and that.
And
That
the
was like
shorts, yeah.
yeah. People are saying that's a curse in that. I don't know. Think it is. It's sad anyway, but all love to Nate. But
Absolutely.
going back to that, like the Knicks need a winning team, whatever it is. Um, just give us a winning team and we'll be happy. And
Yeah, and I think that I think that that last night is a step in the right direction. And,
yeah,
and this
last
whole
night,
preseason has been a step in the right direction, I think. And RJ Barrett's been playing great, extremely consistent. And yeah, I just think this is a very nice step in the right direction.
yeah. What are your thoughts on like Coach Tibbs coaching?
Mm.
Because Coach Tibbs has been coaching really good in my opinion. He's like you see him on the sidelines. He dropped the F bomb at the
Taking off his
ref and
mask.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Though people wear your masks and that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Wear your mask, everybody.
Yeah. But
I really like what I've been seeing from Tibbs. And he was an assistant coach in the 90s for us. And and I see him barking on the sidelines, screaming F bombs at the refs, taking off his mask. I see that 90s Knicks aggression in him. And I think he's really the rotations that he has is very interesting. And I think what he's really just trying to see is what how much of an impact can guys make. I think we're really seeing that RJ's making big impacts, right? He started off poorly, 0 for 7, got it right back, and he's been playing very, very, very well consistently. You're seeing Obi Toppin. He had one bad game against Detroit, but
they bounced back.
that dunk at the end, that like boom, right at the end of that game last night. Fun
Yeah,
to watch. And
yeah.
yeah, I just think I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Tibbs.
Yeah, I think that Tibbs really is a great coach in that, and he gets on him. My only thing, but I think he learned from it, is playing guys like Julius and that. But I think after this game, he's gonna try to after seeing that worked out, there's like and I think that they should stick with that lineup coming into. I don't care that we're playing a contending team. On opening night. Like I know we're playing Indiana on opening night, and I know that's a totally different ball game than playing the Cleveland Cavaliers without Kevin Love,
Second.
Seti, Colin Sexton, even Kevin Porter Jr. was there. Wasn't there in that.
Yeah,
Also
it was just Drummond and Okoro, really.
Yeah, Okoro's gotta be a stud in this league.
He's gonna be
For
great. That first game he had where he got the game winner, yeah, he looks really good.
um, yeah, I think when it came to us, I think that Okoro wasn't the right fit for the Knicks in that, but a team like Cleveland, I think he'll do better in. Um, I think that I can't blame us for the Obi pick in that. Yeah,
Definitely.
and I think that Obi's gonna have a great season if Tibbs plays him. I think there's nothing else that really like it. Obi, I've in my opinion, yeah, he has his defensive struggles, but we have a defensive coach. So I think that by February he'll have some defense in that. As
Definitely.
long as but I'd much rather be concerned about like RJ's jump shot in that than Obi's defense because yeah, defense wins championships, that's true. But in the modern NBA, um, defense isn't as important as offense. And I'm not saying that the center position is played out. Absolutely not. Or the power forward, and the big man. No, it's not all stretch for that. You see players like Dwight Howard had a redemption season. You see Andre Drummond had a good season last year. I don't think it's totally played out in that, but it's not as important as it was like 10, 15 years ago when you had people like Tim Duncan, Ben Wallace, and Kevin Garnett in that,
Mhm. Definitely.
and Shaft. You can add him in the mix, of course. But yeah, well, I think that yeah, defense is gonna make you the best team in that, but like I don't think it's like the I can't like say that it's like the worst thing not to have any defense because you see players like Trey Young, Devin Booker. Yeah, they don't make their teams like the best in that. Well, now the Suns are gonna be
They
a
look
threat
nice,
in that.
especially now that they have Chris
Chris
Paul.
Paul and Aiden really stepped up last year. So they'll be a threat in that. But under Devin Booker playing, did the Suns ever like the Suns were as good as us? That's no disrespect to Devin Booker or Trey Young. But what I'm trying to say is like if you're gonna, I think that I won't be worried. And if Obi doesn't improve on defense, it's not the end of the world. You just get it. He just can't be your number one guy.
Hmm.
But look, Mel, like as long as he gets like at least okay, and I think he will, I won't be worried.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. I think that I think that Obi and RJ definitely are the two players right now that we need to focus on, right? Because they're the future, right? They are our two recent top draft picks in the past 2 years. And
Yeah, they're prob
quickly looks great now too, and that's just it's great.
yeah, no disrespect to KP and that, but
No.
they're probably our best draft picks. Um, I'm gonna have to say they're definitely like RJ and Obi are the top 3 and 4 best draft picks ever in Knicks history. Now you'd
Whoa.
have to put Ewing there.
You think you
In
think
recent memory, in
okay.
recent in recent memory, um, in the last 2 decades, in the joke Knicks era. They're RJ's the second best player we've drafted, and Obi. You could make an argument for both that they're the second best player we've drafted ever in the
In Knicks history or in recent
in the
years?
21st century. And that
Okay. 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 I guess I just
David Lee, yeah, you could put David Lee.
it is only preseason. That's all. That's my only concern with that. I just think
I'm not.
we gotta see how they do in the regular season and in years to come, I think.
Yeah, I'm not overhyping them, but it's just saying how poorly the Knicks are drafting that over the years and that.
Hmm,
Because when you really
I
think
see.
about you like the Knicks draft so poorly in that they over the years. In recent memory, um they hit on the last two, and I'll definitely give a little half to the 2018 draft because of Mitch and that. But they really hit on these past two drafts in that. And
Yeah,
I'll give a little half to the 2017 Damian Dotson. I saw him yesterday in Cleveland at playing with
yeah.
Cleveland
Starting too.
against us. Man, I wish we kept him.
Yeah.
He would be a great player if he was on our side for in that game, we'd have that game in the bag by
Yeah,
like
definitely.
15. Yeah, so
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yep, that's true.
Yeah,
So
man.
that's what I would say that.
Definitely. I think that this is a step in the right direction. And I think Knicks fans have something to be excited for now, and it's great to see. And what are your predictions for the next preseason game? Do you think we're gonna win? What?
Oh, I think Cleveland will definitely be if it's all about the lineup. If we keep what we had in down the stretch in the fourth quarter,
Mm-hmm.
then the Knicks are stomping them out of MSG. If it's like the first, second, third quarter, oh, then it's easily gonna be Cleveland. It's all about what you do. I don't care if they have a love sex or what. If you have the right pieces, if you have like the right lineup out there, it's all about what they're gonna do. And
Yeah, I agree.
but if they keep what they had in the fourth quarter last night, and I think Tibbs is now gonna really realize what works.
Yeah, I really hope we utilize
Knicks are winning by a landslide.
if Sexton and Love are out, or if they're in.
Even in or out, I think that if you keep the lineup in that, I think if Sexton and Love are in, Knicks by 5. But
Hmm.
just because it'll give them a little more flair to the game, to their game and that. But whatever it is, keep that lineup, and the Knicks are winning the game.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting to watch. I really liked that lineup last night, and I think they're going to do really good things.
I don't know if they're gonna win against Indiana on opening night, but if they keep that lineup, I could see them winning any game. That doesn't mean they're gonna win every game, but I could see them unless it's against a team like the Lakers, Clippers, um, Warriors, or something. I could see them having a 50-50 odd against any team in any game just because of the way they play.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna overhype this, but that if they play like that, how they did last night, they say that best compliments, and if you have your effort high in that, um, you could win anything.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
But I'm not gonna say like, oh, that the Knicks are gonna win every game. That's absolutely not true, and we need to keep it real here. I
Oh
don't think
yeah,
we're
no,
gonna make the playoffs.
we're probably gonna lose the majority of our games. I don't think we're gonna go undefeated. By a maybe we could have a nice 3 game winning streak like we had I think last season, right? We had a
Yeah,
little.
they could have like a 3-4, maybe 5 game winning streak, but
Mhm, for
and
sure.
they'll definitely have a run of like games where they're gonna be on fire in that, and then they're gonna have their I think they're gonna have like a hot stretch in their cold stretch, and I think that coming in at the beginning of the season, it's gonna be actually the opposite of what happened in 2017-18. I think that they're gonna come in to the season and like it's not gonna be that good in that. I feel like they're not gonna win as. I think that in I think after February in that, I think that's when things are gonna take off in that.
Mhm. Yeah,
So don't
I think we just gotta.
I I wouldn't be that scared if we're out here and we're 3-7 in that. Well, yeah, that's annoying in that, but with this team, I think that you always have to wait until the end of the year because you saw right before everything stopped in that, you saw RJ was bowling out in that. I
Mhm.
um I think that you have to wait until at least the end of the year, and then um I wouldn't say the end of the year, but I think around February, that's when
Mhm.
things will start to catch up in that.
Mhm. Mhm. Definitely, I agree. Good points.
Yeah, but we have to we have to be patient. We have to
Yeah,
be
I think
patient with this
it's
team.
just it's gonna take time. We're not gonna. I always make this joke. We're not gonna wake up with Michael Jordan's
Championship in
secret
that.
stuff from Space Jam and you know become freaks of nature in the sport, right? It's gonna
Yeah.
take time.
I know that this is a big question, but what's your goal for the next if you are to like be Leon Rose? What's
Mhm.
your goal for the 5 year plan of this team and that? I know it's gonna
For
I'm sure it's
five
gonna be a
for
very
five
different
years, I
yeah, in the
think
next
for
five
5 years.
years.
My goal, if I was Leon Rose, that's a great question. I think that,
And what
huh?
like realistic in that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that I don't think we should trade assets right away to create a super team, right? I think we should just make smart moves and at least achieve 1 or 2 playoff appearances in 5 years. I think that's a realistic outcome. It's a
And
realistic goal too,
yeah.
right? Knicks fans could say, "I want to win a championship in 5 years." Not going to happen.
I think
Um,
we ain't even win a championship in 10 or 15 years. Never say never, but I
never say
think that it's good.
you never know what our team is going to look like in 3 years, 5 years.
But I'm gonna say this from if we keep this team that we have right now, um, and we trade vets in that, and at least put a little better of a team out there. Like maybe you trade for a Buddy Heald in that for like give up Julius Randle, uh, um, Knox or something, and like a couple of those Dallas picks, for Buddy Heald. Then I think the Knicks' future looks probably the brightest it's been in like ages in that. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
And I think if you add a Buddy Heald, I think in the you see in the West the Kings do good
Hmm.
for being that type of team. I think in the West, pretend the Kings were in the East in that they'd be an eighth seed.
Yeah, the West is very exciting place to be in basketball, right? Um, you got a ton of super teams. I mean, the Lakers on paper look even better than they were last year. Um, and in my opinion, they're the favorites to win the championship.
Yeah, the
Could you
Lakers I
imagine
think are gonna.
if they get Pau Gasol? Could you imagine that team? That'd be crazy.
There's no doubt that the Los Angeles Lakers are gonna win the championship, but the Clippers, um, um, I think the Clippers are gonna hurt a lot this year. In that, it's gotta be they lost Harrell in that. Yeah, that's what the Lakers. Harrell was a huge threat for the Lakers. Then Schroeder. Um, though they should have brought back Dwight Howard, but that's on Dwight. He basically them up in that, and he basically was like he basically said like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a Laker for life," and then he blew it and went to Philly. But I think that if you I think the Lakers and especially now when you don't have to worry about any of your stars leaving, it's gonna make him even bigger threat because yeah, we knew Anthony Davis was not gonna leave last year. We knew this wasn't just gonna be a 1 year run, but we didn't know if how long Anthony Davis was gonna be here. If he was gonna be here for like just 3 years and then just leave and join another team, or is he gonna be here for a long run and hopefully maybe be a retired Laker in that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
and
he's signed for 5 years, right? He just
yeah,
needs.
I think that Anthony Davis will play. Uh, Maybe he'll like towards the end of his career he might lead the Lakers. I don't know, but I think definitely in he'll be a Laker for a long time to come.
Mhm.
I think he'll definitely be like once LeBron, I think LeBron will have a couple more years and then he'll retire.
Mhm.
But and then I think he'll hand the reins over AD, and I think AD is not going anywhere in that.
Mhm. Yeah,
And I think that he'll be with the Lakers, and I think that he'll be blowing out at like 35 in that, and he'll maybe in 10 years still be with his team in that. Yeah, I don't know,
yeah, man, definitely, definitely.
but all I know is Anthony Davis isn't going anywhere no matter what.
Hmm.
So that makes the Lakers an even bigger threat, knowing that like they don't like if even if they lose, like in like the finals or the conference finals 1 year and 1 year like it wasn't their year in that, they know that that's not gonna be like those Cleveland teams with LeBron in them. You didn't know if LeBron was gonna be there for a long time to come in that. And you knew like you were just trying to entice LeBron in that. Even those Miami teams in that. But if they lose 1 year, um in the conference finals, like they won't be afraid about losing their star in that and they could just um and they would just run it back and I think that they would win again. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
They might have 1 year where they're like not as good in that, but next year they'll just run it back. Like the Warriors, they had their after the 2016 thing, like they're like, oh, they could have sort of like done something to the team, a blockbuster trade and that. But you know what they said? We're just gonna come right back even better. Got KD. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, Brooklyn is
Uh
it, it's
Brooklyn Brooklyn seems like an accident waiting to happen
with injury.
situation with Kyrie Irving.
Hmm.
I'm not just being biased because I'm a you know New York Knicks fan,
Absolutely, represent.
but Brooklyn they seem like it's just an accident waiting to happen.
Hmm.
Um, I think that Kyrie. there's gonna be something that's gonna transpire with him, and I think that him and Katie will always like each other, and but I think that there's his like personality and his like he's just gonna be a locker room distraction now, and I think that he's just gonna rub people the wrong way, and then I think that to be honest, I think that in 1 or 2 years, he not 1 year, but 2 or 3 years, he's gonna retire early in that
Mm, yeah.
because I think that he doesn't really enjoy the game of basketball as much as you think he does. Like you can tell, like he says he threatens to retire and wants to start his own league and that, and wants to make it his own like La La Land type of personality type thing. And also, he said one time, "I'm gonna retire at 34." You could just tell that he doesn't really care about like. Does LeBron ever go and mention like when he's gonna retire until like
No, and
he
I
didn't
think the
mention
interesting
until yeah.
yeah, the interesting thing about LeBron is that his contract expires the year his son is drafted. So I
Bronny.
think we're definitely gonna see him and Bronny on the same team. That's definitely gonna happen.
I think that they would maybe LeBron would leave the Lakers. I know they're not gonna win like they're not gonna be bad in that, but I think that LeBron on purposely is gonna be like um they're gonna sort of feel pressure to make a move for Bronny in that, and like they're basically gonna like give that team like something like they're gonna give him like so much like money in that, and they would just basically bribe him for
Mhm.
Bronny in that.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
could, I think I could see that happening, and I think that it would be it would be funny in that, but I think that they're gonna find some way. The Lakers always find a way, and I think the Bus family, like if LeBron says it, they're gonna. If LeBron says you better draft Bronny or I'm gonna leave, they're gonna try to find a way for him to, you know,
Yeah, LeBron is every single position on any team he is.
he's the coach even. Yeah.
He's the coach, he's the GM, he's the owner, everything, everything.
Yeah, I think that LeBron is gonna be there for a long time in that, you know. And but like Kyrie, he just seems like he seems so immature about it, and yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Well, hey man, this was a blast.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. Thank you for coming out
Thank you
and
for having
coming
me.
on.
Thank you for having me. I'm gonna come back definitely.
Tell them your you know, your podcast, Instagram.
Absolutely. So, Knicks Nation, you can find me on Instagram at Knicks Community. No spaces, just one word at Knicks Community.
Knicks
And
Community,
you could check out my podcast, Knicks Community Podcast. I
NBA
got
Community.
I gotta make yeah. I gotta make another episode soon. I've been really busy these past couple of weeks, but definitely I'm gonna start getting more
Grinding back
episodes out
up.
there on the pod.
You know.
I'm gonna bring Luke. I'm gonna definitely have you on the podcast
Oh
as well, man.
yep.
Definitely,
We have
definitely gonna
to.
bring you on. Absolutely. But
You'll definitely see him on another one of my things pretty soon in that.
absolutely. But yeah, man, this was great. So thank you so much for having me, man.
Always.
Thank you.
Go check him out. And peace out, Knicks fam.
Peace out.
Peace.